Yo, what's going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day today, and we're at episode number 17 in the race to Division 1. You guys can see we're in Division 5, 7 points in, and ever since switching to this team, we haven't been doing so great. It's been dodgy, man. It's been really weird. We just haven't been playing well. The attack isn't the best, and we haven't been really scoring, and when I say it isn't the best, the players are good. I just don't think they play well together, if that makes sense. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about building out your teams properly, building them to fit your strength, and building them to where you have the right players in the proper position. And the reason why I want to bring that up is, if you guys can see the team here, you'll notice I have Veratti as my defensive mid. And at first glance, you would think that his stats, they're okay. They should fit that defensive mid role. He's got 68 pace, 78 defending, 69 physical, and 87 dribbling. So I figured it would be nice to go ahead and be able to have a defensive mid to be able to dribble past defenders and build the attack through my defensive mid. But the big problem is he just doesn't fit that defensive mid role. He's not a good defensive mid. As you guys can see, this guy's team, 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, pretty solid side, pretty solid BPL team. But going back to what I was saying, I never went on Foothead and checked what exactly his physical stats were made of. So obviously on the card it says 69, so I figured, okay, it's an average of whatever it could be around that number. When you look at it, his strength is only 56, his jumping is 64, and then his defending stats, his marking is 78, his heading is 55, which is understandable. He's 5'4", and I never checked these things that are so important into building your team. I just looked at the base stats and figured, oh, he's gonna fit perfectly. He's high work rate. He's got decent defending stats. It fit perfectly, but he really just doesn't fit that role, and that goes exactly to my point and what I was trying to make as we concede here, like pretty much the first corner I've conceded all year, and he equalizes the match. My point is, you really need to look at the players you put in the positions they are going to play in for you. I think Veratti would have been much better as one of my outside cams, to be honest with you guys. And it really hurt me. Not having that defensive presence in the midfield really hurt me. Schneiderlin, on the other hand, he's not a bad defensive mid. He can definitely hold his own. But again, he's not great at jumping, and he's not great at, he's just not tall. He's 5'11", and it hurts me on my goal kicks, because if you guys have noticed, on my goal kicks, I actually goal kick it to the defensive mid, and then I head it either to the cam or to my other defensive mid, and I couldn't do that, so I gave up possession a lot on my goal kicks, and I know that's such a small factor, but it's actually really important to keep possession after your opponent gives you a goal kick. But eventually here, we just break down his defense with some nice passing as our players move around, and Payet or Payet, depending on which flavor you like of his pronunciation of his name. We end up putting it in, but right after I score, guys, I make a mistake. I just brain farted. This was a combination of me not playing well as my team not being... I just didn't have the right players on this team. I need to make some changes. Like right here, I was trying to pull him with Griezmann, and he just ends up from kickoff walking through my defense and equalizes the game, and we end up getting a draw. So both of his goals, I could have probably prevented. Probably not the corner kick, but the second one I definitely could have prevented, and we probably could have gotten the win. You guys can see... Look at the stats. I mean, we did really well to try to walk away with the victory, but unfortunately, we get another draw in Division 5, which really had me pondering, man, should I stick with this team or should I just make some changes? I ended up putting Alex Song for Schneiderlin, which was a dumb mistake because I could have switched out Veratti instead. Another player that needs to be replaced on my team is Raphael, my right back, who's absolutely terrible this year on the game. You guys remember when I said Adriano was terrible as a left back? Raphael is equally as bad. And I knew this game was going to go poorly as soon as Rooney took that shot right there and Joe Hart couldn't control it, couldn't handle the ball. You'll see he ends up finding Rooney outside of the box and once again just takes a shot outside of the box and Joe Hart can't get to it and we concede really early. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, wow, is this going to go that poorly again? I couldn't really get anything going on the attack. Maybe I was skilling a little bit too much or trying too much with the ball here. I could have just shot that one, ended up just running into his defender with a fake shot, but it was one of those games where nothing was going my way. I don't know if you guys have ever had those games where your players feel a little clunky, you're not playing as well, you're giving up possession, and it's a combination, like I said, like right here, I just could have passed the ball, but I tried to body his player, and then he does an over-the-top through ball. We can't track it down, and he just crosses it, falls right to Rooney again, and he scores in the 45th minute. And this was late in the 45th minute, might I add you. So it wasn't one of those cases where it just hit the 45th minute. It was deep in the 45th minute. I thought the ref was going to blow for it. But look at that pass. Like, what is that? That was a pass with Veratti just puts it away from Ben Arfa. And then Rafael again. That's supposed to go to Ben Arfa, and it goes back to his player. It's like, what in the world is going on? And then he gets it to Depay. Look at this cross. He wasn't even crossing it to him. You guys saw he was crossing it. It's like a homing missile. Lands right onto his foot, and then he volleys it to make it 3-0. I knew I was going to lose this match already. With the combination of my team just not being built properly, with the combination of me not playing that well, it was just one of those games where things weren't going to go my way. And you guys can see I'm just doing too much with the ball. And then I get called for the foul there. Not really sure how that happened, but it ends up just not going our way this game, man. I mean, eventually I do break down his defense because he wasn't that great of a defender, to be honest, but I just couldn't score. And eventually he ends up conceding a penalty here, and we end up getting that one finally after 3-0. And it's deep into the second half at this point. So in my head, it was already over. Even though I scored this one, it was already over. But right after that, this meant nothing because he was able to just walk past my defense. And again, my midfield was just not playing to its strength. And then Terry I just missed the tackle there, and Dyer, look at that, just puts it in near post with ease. So 4-1 is the scoreline. This is probably the most embarrassing loss we've had this year on FIFA 16. I've played a lot of good people. I've played a lot of good players, and we've either had a close game or you know, just had a competitive game. But this player that I played, we ended up losing 4-1. This player that I played, he was the type of player where he was really, really high pressure. He wasn't like the best player I've played this year by all means. He was a good player, but he had some just crazy things going his way, and we ended up losing our first game in Division 5. First game in Divisions entirely, actually. So I was pretty bummed losing that game, but I figured I'm going to give this team one more shot and one more shot only, and if it still didn't go to my expectations, then it's time for a new squad, time for a new team, because we have not been playing well with this team so far. And we decided to go ahead and jump into one more game. You guys can see 4-1-2-1-2 BPL, which is really the most popular combination of league and formation this year. And in this game, still, I can't put my grasp on it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if my attack is not that great. I don't know if I'm just not playing that well at the moment, but I just think it's the players that I'm using don't fit well together. It just comes down to that. And even though we did play better this game, we were able to move the ball a little bit better. We were able to keep possession. Right here, got really lucky that possession stayed our way, but he ends up going from a tackle from behind. Thought that was going to be a red card for sure. It's the 45th minute here, and he only gets a yellow for that one, so he doesn't even get a red card, which is fine. As long as we get the free kick, we always have an opportunity to score with Paye on our team here as we try to curve it around the wall. It hits the post and goes directly out of bounds as Ben Arfa is trying to track that down, but I take the throw in really quick, and we find our midfielders just making nice runs, and then eventually we find Valbuena in the box. He mistimes his tackle. We finesse it around his keeper. 45th minute goal is going to give us the 1-0 lead, and then finally, during the second half, late in the second half, 87 minutes in, Paye again showing his magical touch as he puts it in near post for us. 2-0 is the scoreline. He never really threatened me on goal, to be honest with you guys. For the most part, I controlled the game. Even though his shots came in, they were really from long range, nothing that was threatening. But once again, great passing, great players making great runs. We end up getting the third goal of the match, but it was really late. It was the 90th minute. So I'm not convinced. This team is gone. I'm done with this team completely. Not happy with it whatsoever. I just was not happy with it. I don't know if that was Aman Siddiqui, because the guy's username was O Siddiqui. I don't think it was Aman, though, because it just didn't seem like it was that good of a player. Anyways, guys, you guys can see here, 11 points now, 4 games remaining. We have 3 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Not the best performance so far, but again, we've been playing so poorly with this team ever since we made it. So we're going to go ahead and make a switch. It's time for a change again in the next episode. So I'll be making a brand new team. We'll see if we go ahead and use a new formation. We'll see how all that goes. But we need to go ahead and win the next 2 matches, and let's go ahead and get into Division 4. We've been playing really well in Division and season play so far, so there's no reason to panic just yet. No need to make super crazy adjustments to our gameplay style, but we do need to make a team change. And I know I didn't commentate over most of the footage in this episode, but I really want to give you guys a really important tip this year, man. If you're building out your teams and you're going to use players out of position, just make sure they can fill that void. Make sure you can use the players that are going to do what you need well, if that makes sense. So don't make the mistake I made. And in the next episode, we're going to fix that. We're going to clean up our team. We're going to start playing better, hopefully, truck through this division, as I mentioned, and continue from there. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you guys aren't subbed to the channel, make sure you hit that sub button, because what else you going to do? Catch you guys tomorrow.